Okay guys, the number one mistake we see clients make when they hire a virtual assistant is they just take too long with the process. They're trying to get the job description right. They're having multiple rounds of interviews. I know those all sound like good kind of due diligence things that you should do, but I'm going to tell you today why that holds you back and why it doesn't even help. The first reason is you just don't know what you don't know. So think about a time when you had to do a household project like painting where you're renovating something and you have a plan. You draw it all out. You know exactly how long to cut each piece of wood or what paint you need. But no matter what, it seems like as soon as you start, something goes wrong, right? There are surprises along the way and you just can't predict those things. So with outsourcing, it's the same thing. You are planning to hire a person from all the way on the other side of the world who has a complete different culture, mindset than you. And you want them to come into your business, help you grow, save you money, save you time. And that's all possible, but you also just have to accept that you're not gonna get it right off the bat. I mean, imagine asking, I don't know, a teenage boy what he thinks he'll be like when he's a father down the road. And I mean, I'm sure this young man, if he's intelligent, he can come up with some good rationale. He might use his own experience, being a son to a father and reflecting on that. But at the end of the day, like, hey, I'm talking to you parents, right? Like this guy basically, no matter what he says, he has no idea what he's getting himself into until he actually has a baby and then experiences the, sleep deprivation and all the responsibilities and seeing all his free time go away, but as well as the joy. So it's not just the negatives, but it's the positives. When we see clients outsource, they fall into this trap of, well, I want to get it right. I want to have the perfect job description. I want to think about what they're going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but you just don't know what you don't know. So I wouldn't even bother. The thing you have to accept is that great organizations hire great people and then they let people define the role. They don't hire people into roles. More than likely, you have more than enough problems in your business, whether it's sales, operation, finance. You're probably doing way too much anyways. So just meet somebody decent, take a shot on them, bring them in and go, what problems can you solve? Yes, you have to set up some guardrails and, I'm not saying just don't give them anything to do, but work with this person and understand what their background and their experience is, because most likely they're going to be able to help you with something. The second reason is just simple opportunity cost, because even if you hire somebody who is not ideal, which you have no idea what that is based on my last reasoning, you have to hire probably 20 people in your outsourcing journey before you even understand who's the right type of candidate for you. But even if you hire someone who's not ideal, they're more than likely going to save you time or help you make more money anyways. So the example I like to give is this. One of my clients, he started getting into cold calls. So he's doing a B2C product and he's moving into B2B. And he thinks it's a good idea for him to just test the market. He picks up the phone, he calls vendors across the United States to try to see if he can get a follow-up call. And when I ask him why he doesn't hire appointment setters and virtual assistants to help him do this call, he gave a very perfectly rational answer, which is, nobody knows my business like the way I do. So I can have way higher conversion rate on these calls because I can speak to my business very well. I can answer any question that gets thrown at me. And I said, okay, you're correct. How many calls did you make today? And he said 10, because he's busy with all these other things. So again, I take what he said as at face value as correct. He is better than probably even the best appointment setter we can hire for him from the Philippines. But that appointment setter, if he or she is doing that full time in a day, which will basically cost, $70, that person can make 150 calls. So the question is not, who's better at calling? I would say to this client, are you 15 times better than this person? Because you made 10 calls and they can make 150 calls. What about tomorrow? What if you get busy, can't make any more calls? Now this person has 300 calls under their belt. You still just made the 10. So are you 30 times better than this person? And what are we talking about here is a cost about, 2 days later, it will be $140. So it's this idea, I think business owners, because they're very accomplished, they're very driven, they're very capable individuals, they want to get things right. When really they should think about the process, because you're not going to get it right. But if you think about the cold call example, you should maybe approach it like, I'm just surveying, I'm just collecting data, right? And in business, by the way, is pay to play. So you're not going to get information unless you pay for it. So if you hire somebody and then they go make 1,000 calls for you in a week, and then you end up paying $350, I would say that's a pretty good result because it's going to kind of lead you on what you should do the next week. The other recommendation I have for business owners hiring virtual assistant is rather than thinking about hiring the perfect person, set your sort of recruitment KPI around the process. So instead of finding the perfect person, just say, I want to conduct 15 interviews this week. And out of those 15 people, I'm going to force myself to hire 2. Because again, forcing yourself to interview 15 people is already more productive than trying to craft a perfect job description and thinking about what a day-to-day is like without considering who's going to apply. So interview 15 people and then forcing yourself to hiring 2 people is admitting and accepting the fact that you don't know what you don't know. So just having somebody start, see how they do for a week and go from there. And that brings me to my third point, which is if it doesn't work, you can always let people go. It's just business. Obviously, you can do it in a nice professional way, right? But just recognize that this is a two-way street, right? So if someone's coming to you to add value for your business, the onus is on you to try to get it right, but you don't have to go all the way. They also have to bring their skills and try to figure things out. You know, when we started this agency and we were hiring for our own team, we made tons of mistakes. The most memorable mistake was we hired a bookkeeper for our own team. And this person said he was good at bookkeeping, he knows how QuickBooks work, but turns out he doesn't even know any accounting fundamentals. We're supposed to be a recruitment company. But you know what? Like, that was a great learning experience because my finance manager at the time, it taught her that she has to be accountable for the decisions that she makes because she had to go to this new hire and let him go. My recruitment team also learned a lesson, and we implemented, different tests now to check a candidate's ability for basic accounting. So now we make them do a case study of, debits and credits. They actually have to do a journal entry and things of that nature. So you're just getting better, right? And if you run 15 interviews in a week and you hire 2 people, the worst case is you're going to let them go. The best case is you might actually find somebody who is actually really good for your business. But the most realistic case is you're going to learn a lot. And then the next time you do it, you run 15 interviews in a week, you hire 2 people, you're more likely to get it closer. Okay. And that's the other thing, by the way, is, some clients with us, they always go, I interviewed Mary and Joe and I don't know who I should hire. So let me get back to you. And this isn't a sales plug, but you should really just hire both people. Because we all know how people interview, there's a disconnect between how they do on the job. You're going to learn things about people once they start. So just have both people start. Yes, you're paying double the wages, but who are we kidding? You're already saving 70% on payroll. Almost anything you do is creating a room for error for other areas in your business. So it's still economical. Hire both people, learn from it, because business, like I said, is pay to play. It's pay to learn. And those who shoot from the hips are always going to land more shots on the board than those who aim very, very carefully, especially if you're still a young business. So that's it. My company helps businesses outsource exceptional talent from the Philippines. If you need help, there's a link in the description. We'll wait to hear from you. Thank you.